Welcome to The Wall. In today's video, we'll hear from a woman discussing her divorce process after 12 years of marriage, a man who says his lawyer was ripping him off by prolonging the process to take more money, and a woman who feels offended when a man wants to buy a house and put it in his mother's name. We want to invite you to smash that like button and help us reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year and earn our first plaque. That's the only contribution we ask from you, man. Add your grain of sand to the movement. Leave us your experience in the comments for any man who needs it. And without further introduction, let's get started.
I don't know who needs this reminder, but apparently a lot of y'all do.
Oh, goody. I love reminders. Let's hear this one.
I am not a man.
I doubt that one is going to hear much disagreement on that.
I am not assigned male at birth.
Sure. Okay, why not?
I am an assigned female at birth, femme, non-binary person.
Of course. When exactly did they start assigning that at birth?
If there is a choice between a man and a bear, I'm the one that gets to choose.
In some instances, I'm starting to feel really sorry for that bear.
Also, so it's not a choice.
Wait, so there's no freedom of choice anymore? Oh dear.
Stop fucking saying, oh my god, I would totally choose the bear over you, just because I'm standing up for liberation, okay?
So much for liberation if there's no freedom of choice. I guess they must have changed the definition of that word too.
You don't get to choose between me and the bear, okay? I get to choose between a man and a bear. And if anything, I am the fucking bear that will tear apart the man who hurts you.
Oh gee, don't I feel safe now?
Do you understand me? Like, and the fact that men do not understand why we would choose the bear.
We? Who precisely here is this we? Maybe I missed something.
Literally just proves everything. Stop treating me like I'm a man.
Indeed. And I'll just say this. I personally treat people how they act. So there's that.
Fuck up, you crazy bitch whore!
I'm curious how these people want to choose between being a woman, a man, or a bear when they can't even decide what they are. Honestly, after male or female, I group all these people who identify as so many things together as extraterrestrials since we haven't seen one yet, and that option is still vacant. The irony here is that they want to fight against men, speak badly about men, and blame men for everything bad. But when they have a problem, they go to a man. I assure you, when their car has issues, they go to a man. I assure you that when their house has a problem, they go to a man. I would have said they turned to their father for help, but seeing how things ended up, it's possible there wasn't a father around. Then they say that having a man in the house isn't necessary, but when they aren't there, look at how things turn out for them.
Today marks 1 year since my divorce was final. Wait for my pre-workout tingles to kick in while we talk about it. Some things that I did not expect to experience, besides all the sad things like the depression and anxiety and grief that come with divorce that I talk about in my other videos, but some other things that I didn't expect. Number one, having to reparent my inner child that I had no idea was going to come out after divorce. There was a lot of parts of my personality that I had to suppress to keep the peace in a very high demand religion, very intense, radically religious marriage. And so when I got divorced, a lot of those parts of my personality just started popping up because it had the space and room to just come out. And I had to navigate, like, is this part of my personality? Is this a trauma response? Is this just like my inner child rebelling? And having to reparent my inner child while navigating trauma was like a mind F. Like, they don't prepare you for that. That was not in the handbook that I was given. There is no handbook on that. That was wild. Second, tearing down the walls of this very like rigid cinder block box I was forced to live in for 12 years was really weird. I expected to just feel like a feeling of like release and freedom, which I did feel, but it was also felt with very simultaneous like confusion, because I know what life in the box looks like. It's predictable, it's comfortable. I know what this looks like, and to have those walls be gone and to have to find my own box feels a little like you're lost and confused, because although it was toxic for your mind, body, spirit, soul, all the things, and it wasn't where you were supposed to be, at least it was predictable. And now it's gone. So you have to figure out what your boundaries are outside of that box.
I don't know what people are smoking in the morning, but it must be good. All she worried about was how to find her inner child. How many men in this country would love to be in your position, when most are just thinking about how to recover financially? What is this about the box? If what happened was that you didn't get the house, that's it. Why are you complaining about the block you should have lived in for 12 years? But if you had gotten it, I'm sure you would be overjoyed. That's why she tells us she thought she would feel a sense of liberation. But honey, that only happens when you win the divorce, because we all know that divorce happiness is always funded by the ex-husband. This is why we always see that before the divorce, they are the person who loves you the most, but afterward, they are your worst enemy. So if you commit the stupid idea of getting married, always have a prenup.
Another thing that was freaking weird was I got married at 19. I was a child when I got married. My prefrontal cortex was still mid-development at the time I got married. If you are not allowed to rent a car, you should not be allowed to get married, but don't even get me started on that. Anyways, so I got divorced at like 30, 31, and so never in my adult life, or really my entire life, except for that 1 year in college that I wasn't married or didn't live with my parents or wasn't married, I had to make decisions by myself, which is totally fine. I have no problem making decisions for myself. Love it, no issue. However, I've never had to make a decision where it didn't greatly affect somebody that I was doing life with. I've never had to go to make a decision and be like, okay, so how is this going to affect this person? I'm going to make a decision. How am I going to pitch this? How's it going to help them, hurt them, benefit them, stress them out in some way? So when I'd go to make a decision, I was like, okay, this actually doesn't affect anybody but me. And that is a weird, weird place to be. That messed with me so much, let me tell you. I could write a novel about how weird this first year has been, but let me just tell you this, okay? You are going to whip through a million different versions of yourself in this first year, and that is okay. Give yourself the space and grace to do it. Okay, you are going to be navigating just a million different versions of yourself, grief, loss, sadness, all while trying to rebuild a new life and keep your kids happy and healthy. And it's going to feel so overwhelming and so hard. But I want you to know you are not alone. There is light. There is love. There is an end of the tunnel. Healing isn't going to happen overnight. In fact, there is no destination to healing. It's going to be daily practice. But just know that you are not alone. You can do this.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no.
That's why women are the most selfish beings in the world. They only think about me, 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 because she says she had never made that decision before. For God's sake, what you did was destroy your husband's and children's lives for, let me guess, your own happiness. Remember, marriage is only so that the woman is happy. As soon as the woman is not happy, the marriage is over. Who cares if the husband doesn't want a divorce? Who cares about how the kids feel? Who cares what the parents think? What matters is what they want. That's why it always starts with things like, I was 19 when I got married. My brain wasn't fully developed. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, right. You didn't know what you were doing when you got married, celebrated a wedding, wrote your vows. But when you were intimate with the man, your brain was developed enough for that. That's why nowadays a man has to protect his assets, so she doesn't take what you've worked for, like this woman tried. This is the advice given to this man in the next video.
A man wants to buy a house in his parents' names so it won't be connected to his wife in any way, and she can't forgive him. The wife posted to Reddit saying that they've been married for 2 years, her husband runs a business, and she's a stay-at-home mom to their child. They had been talking about buying a house, and she overheard her husband on the phone with his father talking about putting the house in his father's name. That's suspicious. She found out later that his friend had advised him to put the house in his parents' name and then have his parents transfer it to him later, so that the property wouldn't be legally connected to her during their marriage. She was, rightfully, furious and heartbroken. She says she caused a scene and that the house buying plan was postponed. Her husband apologized and tried to make things right by taking her for a shopping trip to buy things, but she's still sad and can't forgive or forget. Commenters on Reddit were pretty blunt, telling her that her husband was hiding information from her and destroying her trust. And many suggested that this was a symptom of financial abuse and that she should get her financial house in order, get a job, and lawyer up. Financial abuse includes tactics to conceal information and limit a victim's access to assets, like a house, according to the NNEDV. Financial abuse makes it difficult for a partner to leave a relationship, and when they finally do escape, they are often left with no assets, and it's very difficult for them to rebuild. It's likely worth this woman's time to consult an attorney and find out what her rights are in her state. And as far as rebuilding trust, it's going to take a whole lot more than just a shopping trip.
I have two opinions on this. First, putting your house in your parents' name can be beneficial when trying to protect your assets from a woman, but it's not risk-free. If you're an only child with responsible parents and a good mother, it might be a good idea. But if you have siblings, leaving everything in your father's name, knowing that everything has to be divided equally when they pass away, even with legal documents, is risky. There are some pretty lousy siblings, especially when you're doing well, and they aren't. Or parents who don't know how to manage their finances and spend the money as soon as they have it. So I recommend thinking this through carefully. I'm a supporter of prenuptial agreements or making legal agreements in marriage. If you get married without assets or with a woman who contributes financially, it would be best to make legal separation agreements because, in my opinion, this man can say goodbye to his marriage. As I said, if you got married without protecting yourself, the best thing is to make legal agreements and keep believing your marriage will last. Because in this man's situation, there's no way it will end well. Otherwise, watch the next video about the cost of divorce in this country.
It takes 2 minutes to get married in the system and about 2 years to get divorced, if not longer. If you don't know, it's all a sham. It's all a scam. I'm one of the rare ones that actually initiated the divorce. Usually it's the other way around. And I had a lawyer. She had a lawyer. And we ended up settling. But I settled without my lawyer, and I'll tell you in a bit why. My thing is this. If we were going to settle, why drag it out for 2 years? Why? So the two lawyers could keep making money, that's why. So they can bill each of us for talking to us, for sending us an email, for sending a fax, for sending some email to each other, right? My initial lawyer quoted me a price, ended up charging me like 3 to 4 times, which is totally wrong. I'm not going to badmouth him, whatever. It is what it is. Like I told the judge, I'm never getting married again because he told me yesterday, you can get married tonight. And I told him straight up, Judge, I will never get married again. With a straight face, like it wasn't a joke. Just to shut him down and let his buddies know that I'm not falling into the system again. Whatever. I'm just saying that just to say that. But we ended up settling. I let go of my lawyer because he was too slow. He wasn't doing anything for me. He wasn't even negotiating. The other side sent me some outrageous settlement agreement. Outrageous. And this guy didn't even flinch. He didn't even say anything. I let him go. And I said, you know what? Somehow I'll figure this out. Luckily, the other side wanted to hurry up and settle. So they sent me a 30-page document. I read it over. Whatever I didn't agree with, I sent it back with revisions. And we went back and forth like 6 times. I ended up reading that document like 6 times, which is like a half a novel. And I was happy with everything because I feel like I'm good. I don't have any obligations, and my children are taken care of, and I'm out clean. No obligations, no nothing. Whatever I make now is mine, and that's it. So, this system needs an overhaul. Because it's not right at all. You understand? It's bullshit. It's bullshit. But at the end, the judge told me of all the cases I've heard relating to this type of matter, said, Chris, you're the most professional that has come here. And the other lawyer commended me for, my communication style and how we got things done. So it's over.
I must say that going through a divorce without a lawyer is a terrible idea. If there isn't much to lose or the marriage isn't very long, maybe it's not a big deal. But if you have a lot of assets, you should change your lawyer, not go without one. No soldier goes to war without his rifle. Now, what he says is true. There are lawyers who drag out the process just to make you spend all your money, which is why many people end up ruined by divorce. It's not always because of what they lose, but because of attorney fees. But here's a trick. There's an artificial intelligence app called AI Lawyer, where you can use ChatGPT to read a contract and tell you all the clauses that affect you. This isn't paid promotion. I'm giving you options in case you find yourself without a lawyer. But I agree with him. Getting married only takes an hour, but getting divorced takes years. This system is abusive towards men. If you didn't protect yourself from the start, getting out of this contract with the devil takes a long time and is very difficult. That's why I don't recommend getting married. But if you do, having a prenuptial or marital agreement shortens the process significantly. They're crucial when it comes to saving your neck in a divorce. Be smart, don't get married, but if you do, protect your assets. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. Have you ever been divorced? How much did you spend on lawyers? Could you put your houses in your parents' names? Do you believe a sibling or your parents wouldn't betray you? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.